Hello and welcome to today's episode of AI Museums News. My name is Pepe Remani and I'm glad to meet you again. Today's episode is dedicated to the evolution of AI museum audio guides. We already had part 1, so this is part 2. And today I'm going to focus on what happened in the 1960s and 70s. So the 1960s marked a significant step forward in the evolution of museum audio guides. Cassette tapes, a relatively new and portable technology at the time, replaced clunky and inconvenient reel-to-reel tape recorders. This shift brought several improvements. First of all, it improved audio quality, so cassette tapes offered better sound fidelity compared to that scratchy, muffled audio of earlier systems. This made the listening experience more enjoyable and engaging for visitors. Number 2, increased access. Compared to the limited availability of reel-to-reel recorders, cassette players were cheaper and more readily available. So this allowed museums to offer audio guides to a wider audience, democratizing access to information. Number 3, a standardization of format. The use of cassette tapes facilitated a standardized approach to audio guides. Really important. We know standards are a key element to any aspect of any museum these days. So museums could pre-record tours onto cassettes with numbered stops corresponding to exhibit labels, making navigation easier for visitors. So this is really exciting compared to what we had back in 1952 with the first exhibition. However, we still had some limitations, so navigation was still restrictive. Despite the number of stops, navigating the tour remained limited. Visitors had to manually rewind and fast forward to specific sections, making it difficult to skip or revisit specific points of interest. So if anyone remembers this, we used to have a pencil to rewind the tapes. Yes, a regular pencil. Number 2, there was no interactivity. So the cassette format inherently offered no interactivity. Users had no control over the place of the tours or the availability to access additional information about a specific pieces. Okay. This aspect is the one that still, even though this is not interactive, I think that it opened the door to interactivity. Okay, I think this is important to understand that the extra information, the layer of extra information offered by audio guides, it opens some sort of interaction between the work, the visitor, and maybe some other visitors. The other thing that we encounter is limited content. Yes, of course, pre-recorded cassettes allowed for only one standard tour. This actually was the real standard, one tour. So catering to individual preferences or offering thematic tours in different languages wasn't readily feasible yet. Despite these limitations, the 1960s and 70s witnessed a surge in the adoption of cassette tape audio guides. They represented a major improvement over previous technologies and laid the groundwork for further advancements in the following decades. Now, still, there are some interesting points to take into account that some museums experimented with offering multiple cassette tapes for different thematic tours or languages. Really important. Okay, so we're already expanding that one limited tour to multiple tours in different languages. So what does that mean? That it was possible to bring more visitors into our institutions. The increased popularity of audio guides prompted discussions about potential drawbacks, such as detracting from visitors' own interpretations and engaging with the objects. Well, this is what they thought in the 1960s. In the year 2024, we know that this is not true. And finally, the 1960s saw the development of early language lab technology, which introduce multilingual audio guides in the future. As I mentioned before, this is something really important, because we want to have multiple languages, especially if our institution has a major interest in bringing international visitors, has to offer multiple languages, because that's the scenario the institution is living in. So I know all this technology, all these advancements at the time required tremendous amount of work and money, and it was impossible to many museums to even approach the concept. Okay, so some years, and in some cases some decades, were required for more museums to join the audio guide revolution. Well, this is today's episode, so coming soon, we'll have a look at what happened in the 80s and 90s. This is Pepper and Money with AI Museum News. Fins aviat!